in documents. He was just doing it orally. That's when they said there is a company which is called Estina, who will work in partnership with a certain company in England, which is the big company in milk processing plant in England.
Did they say in England?
I mean in India. The name of the company is Paras. Then they told us about the figures of the money that will be injected in the project.
Yes, and did they tell you where was what is it that they were requesting from the council?
They requested that the council should lease the agricultural land to the Department of Agriculture, so that the department can establish that dairy plant.
And where is this land?
The farm.
Yes, the agricultural land.
The agricultural land is the land around the area of Freddy. I think it is a big agricultural land which was used by the municipality before. And by that time, I think in 2011, around August, the council has just taken a resolution to lease that land to the surrounding commercial farmers. That land, I think it's 4,400 hectares big. Then when they represented this story of theirs in the council, that land was already rented by the local farmers.
And how much was the municipality making from that land? On monthly or annually? Well,
you usually, in agricultural point of view, we usually charge per annum, a hectare per annum. And by that time, the equivalent rate, I think it was close to $1 million, because if you lease an agricultural land, you check first what is the value of the hectare, then plus or minus 10% of the value of the hectare. That's a rental amount per annum.
Yes. Did they explain who or how they identify this land?
Not at all.
This request or this type of request, how are they usually tabled at the council? Will someone come in and make an oral presentation, or is there a formal process that needs to be followed?
Well, procedural wise, they should have written a letter to the municipality so that the speaker and the municipal manager, they can discuss the matter first with the mayors, and if we do have a council meeting, that thing, their item can be documented so that it can be on the record. As this one on the 19, you can't find it in the record of the municipality, because they came just before the council meeting and hijacked the council meeting.
And it wasn't on the agenda for that day?
No, not at all.
How were they? What is it that they were offering to the council in exchange for this land?
They said they will pay the council the money which those commercial farmers were paying to the council. Then the Department of Agriculture will buy the commercial farmers contract out and compensate them, so that they can operate the dairy on the farm.
Do you know how much time was still outstanding before the lease that the council had with the farmers expired?
As this meeting took place on the 19th of June, at the farm usually the contract begins on the 1st of August.
Yes.
I think it was just less than a year, almost a year. The contract of the commercial farmers was less than a year old. They were left with 2 and maybe 2 and 3 months or 4 months to.
Or they still had about 2 years remaining.
They still have to have more than 2 years in their contract.
Yes, and who was going to buy out the commercial farmers that were leasing the land from the municipality?
To what it was represented in the council, it was said the Department of Agriculture will do the compensation and buy them out.
Yes, and you said who made the presentation? Is it Mr. Zwane or was it someone else from the department?
The the bigger portion of the representation was done by Mr. Tabete.
Okay. And what else did they tell you with regards to the project that they wanted to use the land for on that day? You deal with that in paragraph 5 of your affidavit, which is on page 2.
They told us the figures of the money. They said the Department of Agriculture is prepared to pay 100 million per annum in this project till it get off the ground. Then they said the pilot project will be 3 years. Then in addition of that 300 million for that 3 years, they said then they've also earmarked 100 people who will be beneficiaries in a BE, a beneficiary model in that dairy. Then those people will be given 100 million again, which makes it 400 million in all.
So how were they going to be given this 100 million?
They said one beneficiary will be given 1 million so that they can buy cattle, the dairy cattle, and bring them into the dairy.
Yes.
Then they said Estina will...
And sorry, how does it add up to 400 million then?
Well, the department, they said the department has planned to inject the 300 for the project. Then in extra, the department will give beneficiaries 100 million. That's what makes it 400 million.
Okay.
Yes. Then they also said Estina will come with will come with 500 million.
Yes.
Which will be injected by that big company from India, which is Paras. They said Paras will give Estina that 500 million. Then all in all, when we worked this out, then it was close to $1 billion. If you maybe add up the VAT by that time, it was very much close to $1 billion.
Yes, and how was this received by the council?
Well, I'm in the council. I was the only person who screwed up with the agriculture, but I've been farming since 2003. The council were so excited because figures that just make people to be excited. But when you look at the bigger picture, you could see that from the beginning, this thing was a little bit like a scam. Because they came in the council with no feasibility study, no business plan, no budget. They just throw in figures without giving documentation on how these figures will be generated or will be brought into.
Did you ask for the supporting documentation, or did anyone in the council ask for this documentation?
As they hijacked the council meeting, just after they left, the first item in the council was the council of the Department of Agriculture. As you can then that's when we asked a question among ourselves. And I was the person who was asking those questions and say, honorable councillors, this thing, if we don't think outside the box, then we'll get into trouble if we approve this certain project. Because it didn't sound like really. It looked like a dream. But if we are clued up, then you could see that it was a scam.
Why do you say it's a scam? How did you reach that conclusion?
In the same council meeting, when we discussed the matter, I even asked them that how are they going to identify those beneficiaries? Then the criteria was not clear. I even warned them. I said, let us not make this thing to be a paycheck maybe for party members, because most of the time on the ground, the party members, more especially if there is a ruling party members believe that thing has been planted into their minds, that each and everything which comes from the government is meant for them, not for the community at large. It's meant for certain individual. Then that's where we discuss this matter and say they must bring forward the criteria in which they are going to identify beneficiaries. Then I remember then they said I'm against development because this thing is going to develop freely and is going to benefit the people of Phumelela.
Yes. Do you know then what happened to this request eventually? Was there a decision that was taken after you deliberated as council members?
Just after that, then in the following council meeting, then that's when the documentation with regards to this Estina Terry scam appeared in the council records. Then that's where the council took a decision that they will lease the land to the department.
Was this a unanimous decision? Were there any opposition to this particular resolution?
Well, we opposed it, but anyway, it was a unanimous decision because as we were only 3 councillors from the opposition. Then the ANC councillors were, I think, were 13. All in all, were 15.
So there were 12.
They were 12, yes.
So the opposition did not oppose this request?
Well, I do represent my side of the story. From
your concern?
Yes.
Yes.
But I represented it personally, in my personal capacity as a person who knows about agriculture. As I'm saying, all 14 councillors, sitting councillors by then, were not clued up with agriculture.
Yes. On paragraph 9 of your statement, you deal with the decline in dairy farming in the area. Could you just take us to that, or elaborate on that?
Around the area of Phumelela, when we grew up until late 90s, we had more than 30 dairy farmers around that area. And
yes.
As a result, when they represented this proposal of theirs, we had only 3 dairy farmers around the area of Phumelela.
Do you know what was the reason for this significant decrease in the number of dairy farms?
Chair, I think I believe that the reason emanated from the farm gate. When those farmers were farming by that time, the milk processors used to buy maybe a liter, maybe they will pay 2 rand per liter from the farm gate. And by that time, then the cost of feeding those cattle, those dairy farms has escalated. As is well known that dairy cattle need intensive feeding. They depend on the feeding. They cannot maybe be driving more than 300 meters from where they are being milked. So when I believe that the farmers realized that they were doing a loss with regards to this dairy business.
So you believe that the decline was due to a number of challenges in the dairy farm business?
Yes, inside the farm gate.
Okay.
Thank you. So it is the cost of feed for these for the cows that was one of the driving factors. Is that your evidence?
Yes, that's my evidence I put forward.
Thank you. And you also talk about the milk processing plants around Friede. Were they milk processing plant in the area or close to the area of Friede?
Before the decline, the milk processing plant, which was in Standerton, is 50 kilometers from Friede. As a result of this decline, from dairy farmers around the area. Then the milk processing plant was relocated to Harrismith. And Harrismith is plus or minus 110 kilometers from Friede. Then the people who were working in Standerton were also, the employees were also transferred to Harrismith. That's where most of them work, even the ones who were residing in Friede. Then the other milk processing plant is in Frankfurt. Then from Frankfurt to Friede is plus or minus 80 kilometers. I think what made to relocate that milk processing plant is the decline of those dairy milk farmers around the area. As by that time, as I stated, that there were more than 30. One farmer was milking not less than 100 cattle. Then you can imagine the liters that they were supplying those milk processing plant around those areas.
Yes. Were you informed that for this project there was also an intention to build a processing plant during that presentation?
Yes, they said they were informed that it will be a dairy. They will have dairy milk cattle and also utilize the land. Thereafter, and a big milk processing plant which will supply South Africa.
Wouldn't that then be to the advantage of the Friede people having a processing plant nearby?
Well, if it was done properly and maybe have people who know how to do, I think it was going to be feasible. But as you can see, they never gave us any documentation that we can go through and see what is their plan with regards to this thing. Then that's what made us not to believe it was going to be possible for it to be operational.
Yes, but then when you say it made us,
yes,
who are you referring to?
As when we discuss, usually when we go to a council meeting, we do hold a caucus, but with regards to this dairy thing, I was given the mandate to speak about it. Then that's what I told my colleague in the caucus, that this thing is not going to be feasible.
Yes, because the council's municipal manager, the Friede municipal manager, will come to the commission and say this project was supported even by some of the opposition councillors.
Well, as I stated, that I was the one who was speaking about it. But in our caucus, then I stood up and tell them that this thing is not going to work. But in the council, then I was speaking alone. Then I cannot stand on his way and say maybe he's wrong. He might be right. But I was speaking from the agricultural knowledge which I had with regards to this there.
Okay. Then in paragraph 11, you deal with the relationship. You deal with the relationship that Mr. Zwane had with the mayor, Mr. Mutaung. Can you just elaborate on that?
Mr. John Mutaung, who is the municipal mayor in the Pumalanga municipality.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been a mayor for 3 consecutive terms in that municipality, because he's been a mayor since 2004. They were like brothers with the MEC Msebenzi Zwane. That's why the mayor, even in the council, that's him who insisted that this project must be approved. I mean, this lease must be approved to the Department of Agriculture.
Yes, and you attach the resolution that was made by the council. It appears from page 7, Chair. Looking at this resolution, there is no way where it indicates that there was opposition from the opposition party. In fact, this resolution was made unanimously by all parties, or by all the members of the council. What do you say to that?
Why don't we have a clearer copy? I've been saying whenever there are going to be annexures, the legal team must please try and make sure that we've got clearer pictures.
Yes, especially page 7, it's difficult even for me to read here, but...
Yes, but I'm asking why do we not have a clearer copy? Because I've been saying that for quite some time. The legal team looks at the statements and annexures in advance. If they see that a particular annexure is not legible, they should try and arrange for clearer copies.
I'll try, Chair, to see if we can still find a clearer copy.
Yes.
And if there are other witnesses that will come and deal with this issue.
I'm just going to repeat. Members of the legal team must please make sure that we get the best copies that we can get. Sometimes you can't get a better copy. What you have is what you have.
Yes.
But then I must be informed, then I know. But if I've not been informed that attempts have been made to try and get a clearer copy, I will take it that no attempts were made. So let's proceed, but a clearer copy should be obtained if possible.
Will do so, Chair. I believe that there is, because there are some other witnesses that will deal with this issue. They might provide us with a more legible copy than the one that we currently have.
Yeah, but then we must, if there is a clearer copy, we must replace this one, even in this statement, with a clearer copy. We mustn't have a situation where there is a clearer copy in other bundles, but an illegible copy in some.
I understand, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, all right. We may proceed.
Yes. Mr. Radebe, I was saying that looking at this resolution that was taken on the 19th of June, it seems as if this decision to lease the land to Estina was a unanimous decision of the council. Do you have any comment?
Maybe if I can first give the background with regards to this resolution.
Yes.
Not only this resolution. The mayor took a decision in that municipality that anything which I speak in the council mustn't be written down. And I think even the municipal manager, when he comes here and we ask him, I was the only councillor in the whole council sitting who was participating in not less than 80% of the items which were brought into the council meeting. And you ask yourself why such a person is not maybe noted when he is even dealing with such serious things. We even asked the council that they should record the minutes with a tape recorder, but we usually have to have a struggle each and every council meeting to have a tape recorder. Each and every time they will leave the tape recorder behind. Then we will have to say the meeting mustn't continue before you have a tape recorder. As we have recognized that most important issues are not recorded. When it comes to this one of this dairy scam,
Yes.
that's why we insisted a lot that the tape recorder must be there. But I'm not surprised that my name doesn't appear here. But on the tape recorders, that's when we make sure that this thing were recorded in the tape recorder, so that we can make them reference, because we know that this thing was not going to last even more. I knew it was not going to last even for 5 years. That's why I insisted that it must be recorded. If they can bring the tape recorder, you can see how we deliberated on this matter.
But
So do you know whether the debates or discussions were mechanically recorded when the discussions happened, or you don't know?
Chair, more especially with regards to this to this dairy scam, they were recorded. We made sure that before we start, then the tape recorder was working. And,
Okay.
And the municipal manager is the person who usually is supposed to advise the council with the legal things inside the council. He also insisted that it should be recorded. I'm
Okay.
dead sure it was recorded. Maybe it can be destroyed, but it was recorded.
Okay,
Chair, we will follow up with the municipal manager.
okay.
Thank you. Then on paragraph 13, you speak of the events that followed this resolution. Do you know if the lease between Estina and the Pumelela municipality was concluded?
Just that, is that just that some other documents then we cannot reconnect with them? I think maybe they are missing. But this, the document that was agreed in the council is that the land was the office of the premier send a lease contract to the council so that the council can approve it, that the council must lease the land. They said the council must lease the land to the office of the premier, because they said legislatively it is stated that the council cannot lease the land direct to the Department of Agriculture. It must lease it into the office of the premier.
Yes. So the land was not then leased to Estina, as far as you know. It was leased to the office of the Premier Free State. Is that your evidence?
Yes, as far as the resolution was taken in the council, is that the land should be leased direct to the premier, so that the premier can maybe give it to the Department of Agriculture, so that then they can lease it to Estina. It was a long story.
And do you know how long was the lease between the municipality and the office of the Premier?
The document which was represented that the lease between the municipality and the Premier's office was 11 years.
Yes.
Then thereafter, then I learned that the Department of Agriculture did lease the land to Estina Dairy Scam for 99 years, lease-free contract.
What do you mean by lease free?
Rent-free.
Rent-free.
Rent-free, for 99 years, rent-free to Estina Dairy Scam.
Yes. And do you know if municipality was paid by the Free State province for this land? Or the Department of Agriculture, sorry.
I followed this thing of the dairy because it was interesting very much closely. And when I looked onto the municipal financial books, because we were represented with those documents, I never seen any payment from the Department of Agriculture to the municipality, and which was supposed to be close to $1 million by that time. And in the agreement, we agreed that it was agreed that the department should pay the money which is equivalent to the rates of that time. And if the hectare is maybe 8,000 this year, maybe next year is going to be 10,000, then they must pay the money which is equivalent to the rate of the hectare. I followed this thing. I never seen any payment into the municipality.
Yes. The municipal manager will come and testify. He'll say the lease between the municipality and the province was for a year, and they were not involved in the 99-year lease. Do you have any comment?
I do have a strong objection on that, because the representation from the Department of Agriculture is, they said to the council, the pilot project for this dairy scam is 3 years.
Did you say for the dairy scam or the dairy project?
The dairy project.
Yes.
Well, he said that the project is a scam.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, continue.
Proceed.
Then it doesn't make sense. How can they lease the land to the people who have a plan of 3 years to to take the project off the ground. And anything can happen. You see, in 11 years, 1 year, anything can happen. Maybe they edited one on that 11, but as far as I know, it was 11 years, not 1 year.
Yes, and he will say for that 1 year that they had this agreement with the province, they were paid, the municipality was paid for the land.
Then you just have to bring a proof which state that the Department of Agriculture paid, the Provincial Department of Agriculture in the Free State paid Pumelela so much for the lease of land, which is 4,400 hectares.
Okay. We'll take it out with the municipal manager. Then let's proceed, Mr. Radebe. On paragraph 14, you deal with the report that you made regarding the dead cows from the farm. Could you please take us through that?
Well, during that time, then it was easy to access that dairy, and I got a tip off that the cattle were dying.
Which time is this? Which year, if you may remember?
The cattle were bought in towards the end of 2013. Towards the end of 2013, the
Yes.
cattle were bought for that dairy. Then in 2014, I think the cattle started dying there, towards the end of 2013 again, just after they arrived. Then in February 2014, that's when I was alerted that the cattle, they are piling cattle up in the stream, in a certain stream around Friday.
Yes.
Then I went myself there and witnessed the situation. Then I got that the cattle were dumped on the stream which supply drinking water to the Friday dam. Then once I witnessed this, I immediately alerted the press. Then the press came. The story was on the front page on the very same week on Friday. Then the photos were taken on Wednesday. Then on Friday it was on the front page. Thereafter, then I saw that nothing did happen. Then I alerted the Department of Environmental Affairs with regards that these people were polluting water, which is the drinking water for people of Friede. Then the official from the Department of Environmental Affairs came after, I think the following week, over the weekend. Then we met in Friede. I took them to the scene. When we got there, then we got that the cattle were now covered with soil.
But were they still in that stream?
Yes, in that stream.
Yes.
Then the official told me that no, I must wait for them in Friede. They will go to the dairy themselves and deal with the official in the dairy. Then they went there. They instructed them to go and exhume those cattle on that drinking water stream and bury them in the farm. They must dig a hole. They said to me, they instructed them to dig 3 meters deep hole and bury those cattle in that area.
And how many cows were there that were dumped in that stream?
Well, taking into consideration that it was in summer and some of those carcasses were already decomposed, but as far as I recognize when I got there, it was not less than 45 carcasses in that stream.
That is now the number of carcasses you saw on that particular day, Or
Yes, Chair.
even over a certain period, you saw 45.
Up to that day up to that day of February, which I reported this thing to the press, the carcasses which were dumped there were not less than 45.
Yes,
Yes.
but as on the day when the media came, were they still there, the carcasses, 45 of them?
Yes, Chair, they were still there. The media even took the photos.
Yes.
And even the officials from the Department of Environmental Affairs, when they got there, the carcasses were there, but they were covered just with soil.
Yes. Was it possible to, were you able to get an idea of how long the cattle had died by the time you went there? Could it have been a week? Could it have been 2 weeks? Could it have been much longer than that? Or it was difficult to tell?
Chair, when I got there, my observation was that it was not less than 3 months since they were dying.
Yes.
Yes,
And
up to that
obviously,
day, yes.
they may have died on different days.
Yes, Chair.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So were they also in different stages of decomposition?
Yes, others, they were almost totally decomposed, others were fresh. And for the records, it never ended that day. Cattle keep on dying afterwards.
Yes.
Are you able to tell about how many, in addition to the 45 you have told me about, also died that you became aware of afterwards, more or less? In other words, how many more did you become aware of that died afterwards?
Chair, just after that publication to the press, because that thing, it caught the attention of the whole South Africa. Then the security was beefed up in that dairy, that no one must come close to that dairy. We were even barred to maybe to walk into the field, not just the dairy alone. Then that's when I began to stay away, because my life was gonna be in danger.
Yes, I understand that, but what I want to find out, because you said that those 45 were not the last ones to die. Cattle continued to die after the date when the media was there. So I'm trying to find out whether you became aware, how many you became aware of that died afterwards. Or you did not see any that had died. You just heard that they were continuing to die.
Chair, yes, I just heard that the cattle kept on dying, but I didn't witness, because now they were buried deep inside the farm where we cannot access that place. But
Okay.
people who were working on the dairy, then when we engage with them, then they will tell me that cattle keep on dying, but we are burying them at a different place from the
Okay.
one that you saw.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Radebe, in paragraph 15 of your statement, you express a view as to, or a reason why those cattle were dying. It's your personal view. Why do you think those cattle were dying in the farm?
Honestly speaking, those cattle were dying, were starving. And the other thing, they were not vaccinated, they were not treated with proper medication. And that's why they were dying like flies. And most of the time, you don't just take dairy cattle and feed them in an open field. You let them graze in an open field. You have to give them some supplement and feeding. But those were left to graze on their own on an open field.
By the way, did you say you yourself have a lot of experience in farming with cattle? You yourself, do you have a lot of experience of farming with cattle?
Yes, Chair, I've been farming, I've been fully farming since 2003, but with
Yes.
beef cattle. And when you do farming, you do all sorts of aspect of farming.
Yes.
It's grain, it's beef cattle, it's milk cattle. Then you choose which one you want to work
To
on.
focus on, yeah.
Yes, but I'm clued up with the dairy cattle.
You have a good idea of how dairy cattle should be handled and should be treated.
Yes, Chair, I do have that.
Yes,
knowledge,
okay,
yes.
thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And then you then deal with the threats and the attacks that you experienced following the reports that you made. Could you please take us through those events?
More especially after this event of reporting the dead carcasses, as this thing caught even the attention of the parliament itself. People around Friday then became so violent, they were angry at me, as I was the one who reported the matter to the press. And I was even attacked personally by a group of people whom by that time we believe it was Mr. Zwane's private force. After he got into that position of the agricultural MEC, he had some dubious employment in the office of the Department of Agriculture around the area of Friday. He hired me 5 people. That office hired 5 people without following the proper procedures.
And how do you know that?
What makes me to be suspicious that it was the right procedure was not followed is that you cannot hire people who, a certain group of people maybe who are friends at the same time when the population of that area is so big, which means those posts were created especially for them. Then
and what is it that they were doing, these people, this special force for Mr. Zwane? What was their role in agricultural department?
their role in the department?
Yes, what is it that they were doing?
The 2 guys were security guards. I think the 2 guys is Bongane Radebe and Dingan Dinga.
Yes.
They were security guards. Then there were other 2 guys is Tuto Khanye, who was working in the office, and the other one is Anton Sibego, known as Kuliza. They were all those 2. They were working in the office of agriculture. And after that time, when they got into that office, there was an extension officer working in that office of the agriculture, and the other lady who's working is an administration in that office.
Yes.
Those 2 people were undermined during this thing of the theory project. I remember the extension officer, he was even stripped of the rights of driving a car. He was walking. Then those 2 guys were using the Department of Agriculture car by that time. It looks as if they were seniors in that office by that time.
And how were you attacked then? Who attacked you and how were you attacked?
The people who attacked me they were driving with Franz Mkwena.
And who is Franz Mkwena?
Franz Mkwena is a well-tenderpreneur in Pumelela. He used to get tenders left and right in that area.
Yes.
So he is a businessman.
I presume so. He's a tenderpreneur.
Where was he getting his tenders from? Is it the government tenders?
Yeah, they were government tenders.
From which departments, if you know?
One of the biggest tenders that he got first is when Mr. Msebenzi was the MEC of Kokta. I think in 2009 he was MEC of Kokta. Then France got a big tender in Warden to build their houses, the RDP houses. That's one of his big tenders. Then he will use some other tenders then around the area while Mr. Zwane was the MEC.
Okay.
When I was attacked, he was driving his car. In his car, it was Bongan Radebe, Dingan Dinga, and Anton Kulaiza Sbeko.
Yes.
Then I was attacked. Then I was even sprayed with a paper spray on the eyes. They say that I'm disturbing the ANC from doing its work. And I was not the only person who was attacked around the area. Everybody who was associated with myself, they were attacked, throwing all sorts of insult on the street. The life that we lived by that time then it was a frightening life.
Yes.
Do you know why they attacked you?
Chair, we had some differences just after after I reported those carcasses.
In the media, to the media?
Yes.
Yes.
And
And what were the differences about? What were they saying and what were you saying on the issue?
well, we had an argument with Tuto Khanye at one of the tennis court around Friday. Then thereafter,
And what was the argument? What was he saying and what were you saying?
or well, we were exchanging words. He said, with regards to this.
In other words, what I want is to see whether it was connected with your stance on the Friete Dairy Farm project, or whether it was about other differences that the two of you may have had.
Well, I can't recall correctly, but we had a going on each other with Tuto Khanye at the tennis court. Then Tuto, I don't know whether it's him or maybe because they were all members playing at the tennis court. Then they phoned those guys and say, "Here is doctor here coming and fix him up." When I was on my way to the police station, then I think it is plus or minus 400 meters from the tennis court. That's when I came across the car of Franz Mkwena with these guys. They stand in front of me like this on the car, then they opened the doors, all of them. They came out and attacked me. When I came out, then the Bongani Radebe took out a paper spray and said, "The ANC is bigger than me, I cannot touch the ANC." Then he sprayed me with a paper spray in the eyes. And I was driving alone. Then the other guy, that thing is biting, I couldn't see. Then there was the other guy who approached me from the front. I asked him to drive to the police station with my own car. Then he drove me to the police station.
But are you able to say that they attacked you because of the fact that you had reported the fact that cows were dying on the Friede farm, dairy farm, to the media, or whether it was about other issues? Are you able to say what it was about?
Chair, with that one, I'm dead sure I was attacked based on this thing of the dairy farm.
Okay.
I can put that on record.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. And then you,
And are you basing that on what they said when they were attacking you, or one of them? What one of them
Yes,
said?
yes, Chair, I'm basing based on what they said when they attacked me. And afterwards, maybe after a while, maybe after around 3 years, Bongani, because we are sharing the very same name then, he came and approached me and tell me that I'm sorry about whatever happened because I was used and I was duped. But whatever you were doing then, you were right because you were doing it for the people of Freddy.
But what was Bongani's surname again?
Radebe.
Radebe.
Yeah, Radebe, yes.
Yeah, same surname as you.
Yes.
Yes. So, but he was one of those who attacked you.
He was the one he was the one who used the pepper spray on me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So you say afterwards he spoke to you and he said he was sorry about the fact that they had attacked you, but the stance you had taken was the correct one.
Yes, that's what he said. Even now, he still stand on his words.
He still says that now?
Yes.
Okay. And how long after the attack was it when he said this to you?
Well, Chair, just after the attack, he said, he spoke in Zulu, said, "Mfo, I'm sorry." Then afterwards, then we met. And then he said, I think the things were beginning to not to be rosy as they were. Then after a long while, he approached me and said, I'm sorry, I was used and I was duped. I didn't think clearly because it looks as if there was greener on the other part where I was shown. But anyway, I saw that what you were doing was right and you were doing it for the people of Friede. And I mean for the people of Pumelelo.
And you say one of your attackers said the ANC is bigger than you.
It's Kulaiza Anton Sibego.
Yes, just repeat what he said.
He said I cannot stand on the way of the ANC. The ANC is bigger than me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Did you report these attacks to the police?
Immediately when that guy approached me from the front, I asked him to drive me to the police station, but I couldn't see clearly because that thing is so inside the eyes. When I got to the police station, some other police officers said I must go to and wash my face. Thereafter, I went to the charge room. I told them what happened. I want to open a case. Then they said that they want to consult with their station commander.
And who is their station commander?
Is Mr. Kasa.
And
That's strange. You come as a member of the public, you say to the police officer and the charge office, I want to open a case. They say they want to consult somebody. That's what they said.
Chair, that's what they said. And
Yes.
eventually that's what happened.
So they went to consult the station commander.
Yes, Chair, they went to consult the station commander. Then the station commander issued a statement. He said to me that such cases don't fall in their office. There is a certain office from Bethlehem whom there are certain official who must come and assist us with such cases because my incident was not he said my incident was not the first one. These cases are political related cases. They don't work with political related cases. There is a certain department in Bethlehem. Then I was turned away and they said they will bring people from Bethlehem, but even today those people never came.
Which year was it when you were attacked?
It was towards the election of 2014, I think just after the incident of the carcasses.
So they refused to open a case for you and to take a statement from you because they said there is another office that handles politically connected cases or politically motivated cases, and that office is in Bethlehem.
Correct, Chair.
But But they said they would arrange for somebody from Bethlehem to come and take a statement from you, or did they say you should go to Bethlehem?
Chair, they said they will arrange somebody from Bethlehem to come and make and open a case for me.
And that has never happened.
Chair, even today it never happened.
Did the station commander is that at, it's not at Friede police station, is it?
Yes, Chair, it's in Friede police station.
This happened in Friede police station.
Yes, Chair.
And the station commander at the time was who? What was his name?
Chair, it was the same person, Mr. Kasa, but by that time he was acting. Now I think he's a permanent station commander.
So it's Mr. Kasa.
Yes, Chair.
Yeah, XHASA, I
Yes,
think. Yeah. Okay, he has never contacted you about this case since then. He has never come back to you to say whether when he tried to get somebody from Bethlehem there were any problems.
He never came back to me. The last time he spoke about this case, it was that time when I was turned away.
Yes.
Yes, Chair.
Well, I've heard I think from Mr. Dlamini
Yes, Chair.
also that he showed the same station commander a video of threats on his life, and that station commander and the police station didn't open any docket and they didn't take any statements from him. So you are also saying you went there and you spoke to him. You wanted the case to be opened because you had been attacked, and you had actually been attacked on the same day. You reported on the same day, and they didn't open a case, and he said they would need to conduct another office in Bethlehem, and they've never come back to you.
Yes, Chair, you're right.
Yeah. Okay, the legal team must please follow this up as well. And I need to have report backs on all these instances where I've had evidence that the police or some law enforcement agencies don't appear to have conducted investigations in circumstances where they should have, and they have never kept complainants informed as to what was happening with investigations. I need to have report backs on all of them. Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Continue.
Chair, we have already notified our law enforcement work stream on this issue of Mr. Radebe, and his statement was made available to them as well.
Yeah.
But we will follow up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Radebe, would you please then tell us about the further abuses that you experienced as a result of the influence that these people had in Friede?
Yes. In addition, I can even assist the commission with other 3 guys who were attacked beside me, who were turned away from the police station the same way I was turned.
Oh, what are their names?
The first one is Teis Kwebu.
Teis Kwebu.
Teis Kwebu.
Okay.
This isn't T-U-I-S.
I think it's written T-H-Y-S. Teis,
Oh.
yeah.
Ace would be Ace like Ace Nzwalenge.
No, Thais. T-H-Y-S.
I'm
Teis.
sorry. Is it Tace or
Yeah,
Ace?
Teis.
Tace, oh, okay, all right.
Pronunciation is
Kwebu,
Teis.
okay.
Yes, and who else?
The other one is Sizwe Zwani.
Yes, and the third person?
He's well known as Mkaka, but I know him personally, and even where he stays. We call him Mkaka. I think his name is Mkaka. Yes.
And when were these incidents, when did they happen?
Chair, they all happened in 2014.
And they were reported in 2014.
Yes, Chair, they were reported in 2014, the very same police station.
And you say up to now nothing has happened. They were turned away actually from the police station. Is that what you say?
Yes, Chair, they were told that there will be people coming from Bethlehem who will assist them to open their cases. I even tried to speak to them when the commission first approached me. They said it just ended like that. They never came back to them.
Yes.
Yes.
Were the attacks on them connected with the Frede Dairy Farm project, or were they just criminal attacks, or were they attacks that were politically motivated by their political opponents, as far as you know?
Chair, they were strictly politically connected. Those three guys were very much close to me while I was a councillor. I used to spend a lot of time with them.
Yes. But they were not involved in any opposition to the Frede Dairy Farm project as such. The attacks may have been politically connected, but in regard to other matters.
Chair, by that time, Teis Kwebu and Sizwe Zwane, they were DA members in good standing. Then Mr. Mkaka, he was in supportive of us. We used to spend time with him, but he was not a member by that time.
Mm. Okay, all right. The legal team, I suggest that you don't ask somebody else to be in touch with the police. If you're going to ask somebody else to do that, it's going to take ages. I suggest that communication with the SAPS about these matters be direct. If it's somebody else you're asking, then it should involve just drafting letters that are to be signed by the acting secretary, but don't ask another work stream to look at that. Look at that yourselves, then it's going to be quicker.
We'll do so, Chief.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, I'm told it's tea time. I'm almost finished with this witness.
Yeah, let's try and finish with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. You then deal with other abuses that you experienced in paragraph 21 and 22 of your statement as a result of you having reported this matter. Can you just...
Yes. Some of the abuses are very much traumatized. We cannot go back to them, but I can bring one into the attention of the commission that I was once shot by the police when I was getting into the farm. It was in 2014. When I got into the farm, then but for security reasons, then I cannot speak all the details.
Okay.
But the police came at the gate and said to me, it was at night, they said they want to search my car. I said, but how can you search my car when you are not even, you haven't even turned on the blue lights? I don't trust you. Let us go to the house, because it's only 300 meters from the main gate to the house. I said, I don't trust you. Let us go and search it in the house, because I've got some people in the house who can maybe be witnesses or back me. Then I drove off. When I drove off, they fired 5 live ammunition shots on my car, and 2 of them landed on my car. Then I don't know what happened with the others. Then I went straight to the house. When I got into the house, they followed me. They came, and in the house there was my brother, my cousin, and the other guy. They were 3. They went and spoke to them. They asked them, what are they looking for? They said they want a driver's license. Then I gave my brother a driver's license. They said they want to search a car. They opened the car. Then thereafter they say they a certain lady said to me, I think I'm clever, then they are police, they will get after me. And immediately I went to open a case. Then the case was investigated by the IP. It dragged on and on and on and on, then eventually then it just disappeared. And no one ever came to me and notified me what happened with the case. Even today, after the investigation was done, then the police got some cartridge on the scene and take them as evidence. But even today, no one ever came to me. It's more than 5 years now.
Okay, that will be included in
Yes, we'll add it.
in checking exactly what happened. Yeah.
Thank you. Was this also after you reported this, the carcasses at Estina?
Yes, this one I clearly remember. It happened it was on the 14th of June 2014.
Thank you, Chair. We'll take it up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And you deal with what was happening with the state vet at Friede on paragraph 21 and 22 of your statement. Would you please talk to that?
As I have stated, once these gentlemen were employed in the office of the Department of Agriculture, that office was eventually turned to be a political party office of the ANC. Even Mr. Zwane, when he came to Friede, he will go through that. He will go to that office, and they will have meeting in that office. If they feel that the office is small, they'll just take a phone call and phone them. The mayor in the municipality, so that the mayor can provide them with the space immediately without even making maybe an appointment or book a place to the municipality. And once these gentlemen got employed in that office, I was taking...
Who are these gentlemen now?
The one which I stated that I think there was one private force. The
Kulaiza.
The Kulaiza, Tuto, Dingan Dinga, and Bongan Khate.
Yes.
To my surprise, I was, as a farmer, as farmers, then the extension officer did have his database of the farmers, but I was taken out of that database after this gentleman got into that office. And as we had some differences politically, those two were securities. They were sitting at the gate. You can't get there in the office if you were not pro ANC. And as a result, then my cattle got sick. In that office, there is a state vet, and usually we don't pay for the state vet, but the state vet is paid by the government. We just go to the state vet and consult when we do have problem with cattle. Then I was denied access to the state vet. After a while, I got the lady who was an administrator, the old lady in that office, on the street. I asked her to give me the phone numbers of the state vet. And then she phoned me the following day and gave me the phone numbers of the state vet. Then I phoned the state vet and gave them the circumstances of the cattle on how they were dying. Then she described me the medication of the cattle. Unfortunately, by that time, I've already lost 45 heads of cattle. And most of them, they were heavily pregnant. And the state vet diagnosed that my cattle were suffering from some other sickness which quickly turned into red water. But when it begins, then it looks like the worms. Then he gave me some prescription. Just after that prescription, then my cattle then stopped sicking.
Stop dying.
It's quite,
Stop dying, yes.
I just note that at a certain stage when you called the media about the cattle that were dying on the dairy farm, it was 45 cattle, and you also lost 45 head of cattle.
Chair, mine, I even counted them. That's why the extension officer I did have his numbers and he had my numbers. When my cattle died, I phoned him to come and take the pictures. Then that's when he said to me, I've been stripped of the rights to drive a car from the department. So I cannot get into your farm to go and have the pictures and witness the cattle. The best thing that you can do, then take some pictures, bring them to me then so that I can see what I can do. That's when then I took the pictures but when I got to him, I asked him, is there any maybe a disastrous relief grant from the department? Then he said they don't have such thing. Those one, if you link these two with 45 and that other 45, maybe the carcasses that ring in my, but I do have pictures of all of them.
Yes.
Even the one from the dairy, you can see yourself.
Yes.
As the one from the dairy, then they were not less than 45.
Yes.
Mine are exactly 45.
No, thank you, Mr. Radebe. Is there anything really that still needs to be covered? You still need to cover?
There's just one issue, Chair, that when we consulted with you in Friede, there was a group of men that walked to the venue where the consultation was taking place. Are any of these enforcers part of that group?
Yeah, when we were sitting in that room, the first time you came to Friede, one of those people of that group which assaulted me, it was Francis Mukwena who got. Then the other one are his friends. Okay. They were not they were not involved in that.
But Francis Mukwena was one of them.
Francis Mukwena was there.
Okay. Is there anything that you would like to share with the Commission?
Yes, I do.
Yes, proceed.
Through you, Chair, there are 3 cases with regards to this Friede dairy project scam. Those cases include murder. They are related in murder. The first murder which did happen, I think it was in 2013, where the guy was hijacked, I don't know, kidnapped or hijacked, by the name of Moses Chake. He was kidnapped in February 2013, and then he eventually died in 2015, around there. I mean, in May 2013. He was hijacked in February 2013, then died in the hospital the same year in May. And the guy was working in the office of the Department of Agriculture. And he was against this dairy thing.
This dairy farm project.
Yes. And up to so far, I followed his story. The perpetrators, even today, they are not arrested.
Do you know whether they are known?
No, not yet, because he was. I don't know. I just read with his story on the newspaper. He was in Bethlehem. Okay. But the other 2 which I'll talk about now. Are those 2 cases? I worked on those 2 cases personally, hands-on. I know what was going on in those cases. The first case is the case of the guy in Warden. he was my friend. When I got to Warden is one of the unit which form Phumelela. I used to go to him then. His name was Whistleblower. He was also a farmer. Then they were not in good terms with Mr. Zwane, because I believe if that guy was also an emerging farmer, he was supposed to be included in this project of the dairy milk. But because now he was standing on the opposite side, then he was not included. But I know he was an emerging farmer. The guy was killed, was mowed down with plenty bullets. I worked on his case. Then his case, I can assure you, it was a pure cover-up.
Well, how far are the police with investigating his murder? Do you know?
The case that disappeared, the investigator kept on ducking, then he eventually never surfaced in Warden. Then the case ended up like that. No one was arrested till today.
Who was the investigator, do you know?
Well, I can speak to the family of that guy, then maybe they can give him the exact name. But the investigator was from Bethlehem. It was not a person from Warden. It was a special person from Bethlehem.
Okay.
And the case that disappeared.
And the third case? Or was that the third case?
Yeah, that was the second case. Then the third case is the case which happened last year of Mr. Philemon Ngwenya. It happened in Friede.
Oh, yes, I've been told about that one.
He was one of the beneficiaries.
I think the first one you mentioned also I've been told about.
Yes.
Yes.
He was killed last year in October. Then the police were working on the case. The case was transferred to NPA in the province. They are the ones who were working on the case, but on the ground, and there is this, one of the things that we mustn't take for granted is the public opinion. It's not true, but you must follow it and see what's up. That case, even today, the people who killed Mr. Philemon Ngwenya are not arrested. And if you go to Friede, you look how small is Friede, and you look at the resources that the police have in order to investigate cases, you become suspicious that there is something which is like a cover-up on this case. But even today, the perpetrators or the people who killed Mr. Philemon Ngwenya haven't been arrested yet. They arrested two guys. They say there's not enough evidence. Then the case was thrown out of court. But even today, there is no progress.
Okay, no, thank you very much. Those were the three cases you wanted to talk about.
Yes, Chair. Maybe the other one is in 2017, towards the end of 2017, in Phumelela municipal storerooms, did surface 4 brand new Land Rovers. And when we followed on that case, we found that there was a document from the Department of Agriculture which said those cars were bought by the Department of Agriculture to fund the farmers with 2 Range Rovers. Then I don't know whether that case can fall into this commission, because up to now, then the community, everybody, we are at a loss. We don't know what happened with that case.
Yes, no, I suggest that you speak to the legal team and the investigators, give them whatever information you have of cases that you think should be brought to the attention of the commission. They will look at them and they will know if they fall outside of what the commission is looking at or not.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Chair, maybe for the last one, Chair, maybe I'll ask the commission. I think this is the last resort for us as whistleblowers and people on the ground to speak to. And may we please the commission look at one of the specific things, or the harassment that the whistleblowers get is not just the physical one. These things goes deep, and it puts the lives of the people who speak out at risk. And in most of the time, then we live in fear. And it's not good to live in fear in a democratic country, as if we are a lawlessness country. I think that the commission may please look onto that thing. It doesn't affect individual as such alone. It also affects people who are close to the individual who are speaking out. That will be my humble plea to the commission.
Okay, no, I think that's very important. It's a point that has been made by others who have come before the commission as well. If if you have any information relating to what you refer to as harassment of whistleblowers and those around them, also talk to the legal team so that maybe another statement can be prepared which can be sent to the commission, and you indicate what you would like to highlight to the commission with regard to such harassment.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes. Thank you very much for having come to give evidence before the commission. We are grateful for you for having done that. If a need arises, you will be contacted and asked to come back again. But thank you very much for coming forward. You are excused for now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are going to take the adjournment now. The time is 25 to 12. I'll take a 20 minutes rather than a 15 minutes tea break. We'll resume at 5 to 12. We adjourn.
Thank you.
Vrede Dairy Farm. The second will be dealing with the death of cattle and his role in assisting in that regard. The third one will be about the people he encountered on the farm. So there are one or two completely different pieces of evidence you will be able to get from this witness, Chairman.
No, that's fine.
Mr. Basson, do you have Exhibit H?
Let us get him on, or, let him do an affirmation first, isn't it?
Yes, thank you, Chairman.
Yes. The interpreter will interpret the oath as well. Mr. Interpreter, you can use the mic on this side. Yeah, stand up. Yeah, put it on. Yes, you will interpret the oath as well.
Please state your full names for the record.
Sal u asseblief u volle name op die rekord bring?
Willem Basson.
Willem Basson, Mr. Chair.
Do you have any objection into taking the prescribed oath?
Het u enige beswaar om eet te neem?
Nee.
No.
Do you consider the oath to be binding on your conscience?
Neem u dat as u nou eet neem, meneer, dit verbind u gewete?
Ja, nee, dis so.
Yeah, yes.
Do you swear that the evidence you
I'm
will-
sorry, what was the answer?
Yes, my lord.
Oh,
Do you swear that the evidence you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
Sweer u, meneer Basson, dat die getuienis wat u hier gaan aflei, gaan net die waarheid wees, slegs die waarheid, niks anders nie. En den so, steek u regterhand op en sê, help my God.
Sê help my God.
The witness is sworn in, Mr. Commissioner.
thank you very much. Yes, are you ready? Does the interpreter have a separate copy of Exhibit WH7?
He does,
Oh,
DCJ,
okay,
yes.
okay. Thank you.
Mr. Basson, if we look at the document that you have presented to the Commission, could you please go to page 1 of that document?
Meneer, as ons nou hierdie dokument kyk wat daar voor die commissaris nou voorgelê het, sal u asseblief na bladsy 1 toe gaan.
Ja.
Yes.
Whose name is recorded on page 1?
Op hierdie betrokke bladsy 1, wie se name verskyn daarop?
Myne.
Thank
My
you.
name's Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you. If you then go to page 6 of the same document,
Bly na bladsy 6 by dieselfde dokument.
the first signature just below paragraph 22, where the word deponent appears, whose signature is that?
Die handtekening wat daarop is op bladsy 6, wie se handtekening is dit, meneer Basson?
Ek het nie bladsy 6 nie.
I'm just perusing for page 6.
By sê.
I do have it.
Ja,
Who's-
dis my handtekening.
Chairperson, the signature appearing here, it's mine.
On what date did you depose to this document? And where did you depose to it?
Op watter datum het u hierdie dokumente opgestel en waar was dit gewees?
26 Junie, Vrede.
It was on the 26th of June and in Vrede, Chairperson.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Basson, are there any corrections, even if they are minor corrections, that you wish to make to this statement?
En hierdie betrokke bladsy, meneer Basson, is daar enige veranderings op die bladsy? Al is dit 'n klein veranderings, is daar enige veranderings wat u nou wil aanbring?
Kyk, ek het my eers enig sê, ek het 'n miljoen rand se voer gelewer vir hulle, né? Dit was, okay.
Chairperson, I've delivered R1 million fodder for them.
Okay, I'm sorry. You might not have understood what the question was. The question was whether there are any corrections in your affidavit that you would like to bring to my attention?
U het seker nie die vraag verstaan nie. Die vraag was, is daar enige verandering wat u nou wil aanbring op hierdie dokument wat u...
Nee.
There is nothing, Chairperson.
Thank you.
Chairperson, we'll take, it is a very minor one and we can deal with it in a
Yes.
supplementary.
No,
It
that's
really is
fine.
not a material change.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Basson, where do you live?
Meneer Basson, waar is u woonagtig?
Ek bly in Vrede, Kerkstraat 61.
Chairperson, I reside in Vrede, 61 Kerkstraat.
Do you have a home in any other town?
Ja,
Het u enige woning in die ander dorpe?
ja, ek het.
I do, Mr. Chairperson.
And is there anything of interest that might be of interest to the Commission in relation to where you live, where your other home is, and who your neighbors might be?
Is daar enige iets, meneer Basson, wat u nou voor die commissaris wil aanbring, wat belangrijk is oor hierdie betrokke wonings waar u woon, as ook vir u bure?
Nee, wat?
No, Chairperson.
Mr. Basson, your business premises, where are those located?
U besigheid, meneer, u besigheid, waar bedryf u besigheid?
Ek bedryf het in Kerkstraat, nommer 1 Industrial, in Standerton, Vrystraat, en dan
I do my business in number 1, Kerkstraat in Standerton,
Vrede.
I beg your pardon, in Vrede.
Dan nog 'n besigheid in Standerton, Vrystraat.
And I do have another business in Vrede, in Standerton. In Standerton, wat is die straatsnaam?
Vrystraat.
Vrystraat.
Yes. Do you have a home in Warden?
Het u huis in Warden?
Ja, kom ons get huis in orde.
Good.
En 'n besigheid.
Chairperson, I do have a home as well as a business in Warden.
Yes. How far is your business from the Vrede Dairy Farm in terms of kilometers?
En hoe ver is u woning, of hoe ver is u besigheid vanaf die dairy in Vrede?
'n Maximum van 8 kilometer.
A maximum of 8 kilometers, Mr. Chairperson.
And here you're referring to the distance between Vrede Town and the Vrede Dairy Farm.
Verwys u nou na hierdie Vrede plaas as ook hierdie dairy.
Dis korrek.
Indeed, so my.
How long have you been conducting the business of a construction company in Vrede?
Vir hoe lang het die besigheid bedryf gedoen in Vrede? Vir hoe lang?
Van 1978 af.
Moenie bek nie, want
Okay.
from 1987.
And
78.
I
Sorry.
beg your pardon. From 1978.
Yes, okay, you don't need to come close to the microphone, but you mustn't be too far, but if you are where you are, it should be able to work.
Waar is dit,
Well.
meneer praat, maar net waar is dit, jy sal net aanneem.
Doe het reg.
Yes.
I
Yes.
do understand, Chairperson.
thank you. You also, in your paragraph 5, refer to hiring out earth-moving equipment, plant and machinery. Is that part of the construction company?
Op hierdie bladsy op paragraaf 5, u praat van uithuring van masjiene. Is dit 'n deel van hierdie konstruksie?
Ja.
Indeed, my lord. Indeed, my Chairperson.
You are a farmer and you are well versed in cattle farming, you say.
Ja.
Yes, Chairperson.
How long have you been a farmer?
Hoe lang is u 'n boer, meneer? Vir hoe lank is u 'n boer?
Van 2000 af.
Chairperson, from 2000.
And do you farm in dairy cows or in what is colloquially called red meat cattle?
Boer u met melkbeeste of slagbeeste, vleisbeeste?
Right, ek boer met vleisbeeste en met wild.
I do business with met wat?
Beeste, vleisbeeste.
Meat, cows, as well as a game.
As well as?
As well as game.
Oh, okay.
Maar, kan ek iets sê?
May I say something?
Yes,
Chairperson?
continue.
Yes?
Ek het die plaas onlangs verkoop met die vee.
I've just sold the farm recently with the cows.
Is this the game farm or the cattle farm?
As die veld plaas of hierdie beeste plaas?
Al twee.
Chairperson,
Ek het al twee verkoop.
both of them.
Okay.
Have you ever had any interest in dairy farming?
Het u enige belangrijk gehad dat u nou moet bedrijf doen met dairy?
Nee.
No.
But you say you know the farmers who in the farming community.
En u het vir die commissaris gesê dat u weet van die gemeenskap, die mense wat boer met melkbeeste.
Ja, nee, dis die waarheid.
Yes.
Ek het kennis daarvan, maar van die bure en ander mense se melkbeeste. Ek self het nie melkbeeste gehad nie.
I do have knowledge about the other farmers who are doing business with the milk cows, but myself, for one, I do not have anyone.
Yes. There are 4 farmers, commercial farmers, who are leasing the Krenau's List farm in the municipality. Do you know them?
Daar is 4 plase wat nou uitgehuur word deur die munisipaliteit. Dra u kennis van die plase?
Ja,
Yes, I do, Chairperson.
They are the ones who were moved off the property and the Vrede Dairy Farm was then established on that same farm.
Hierdie betrokke plase wat ek nou genoem het, dit is die plase wat nou uitgeneem was en tot op 'n stadium waar hierdie dairy opgestig is.
Ja.
Ja, dit is correct so.
Krenau's Rus, ek weet daarvan.
Wie?
Die plaas se naam, een van die plase is Krenau's Rus.
Yes, it is correct. So one of the farms, Chairperson, is Krenau's Rus.
Were those particular commercial farmers dairy farmers?
Die betrokke plase, meneer, was het dairy plase?
Nee.
No.
Let's talk about Estina and the Vrede Dairy Farm.
Kom ons praat nou van Stina, hierdie Vrede Dairy plaas.
You say that you were contacted in or about 2012
U sê, u was toe gekontak in 2012
by people who wanted you to assist at the dairy farm.
oor die mense wat u help benodig het op hierdie plaas van die dairy.
Dis reg.
Ja, it is so.
I think it will be of interest to the chairman to know if it's the people who are running and operating and managing the dairy farm who contacted you or completely different set of people.
Die mense wat u gekontak het, meneer, oor die help op hierdie dairy farm, was dit die mense wat op die plaas was, op die dairy was, of was het verskillende mense?
Nee, dit was CP Prasad van India. Hy was die bestuurder.
CP Prasad, Chairperson, and this person was from India.
What did he ask you to assist with?
En hierdie betrokke persoon, meneer, toe hy u nader, wat se soort help moes u nou aan hom verleen?
Hy het werk gehad daar, so paie moet hulle wat moes klaarkom, 'n damwalletjie wat gebou moes word.
He wanted me to come and help at the farm with roads dams which were supposed to be built on the farm.
Roughly when might this have been? 2012, 2013, I don't know if you can recall.
Ongeveer wanneer was dit geweest, meneer? Kan nie herroep, was dit in 2012 of 2013?
Het was daarom 2012 of begin 2013, ek is nou nie doodseker nie.
I'm not so sure about the date or the year, but it was around 2012 to 2013. I'm not certain about the exact time.
The Commission has heard evidence that by December 2012, the basic farm was up and running. Would you agree that by December 2012, the farm itself, the operations were up and running?
Die commissaris het al reeds 'n getuienis hier gehoor dat in Desember maand 2012 hierdie betrokke farm was aan die gang gewees.
Nie heeltemal nie.
Not,
'n gedeelte daarvan.
not in full operation, Chairperson, partly.
I'm satisfied with that answer, but would like you to explain where you then fitted in and the services you provided fitted into establishing this farm.
Die e-bydraai tot die opstigging van hierdie boer het hy ook deelgeneem of het hy deel gesit op hierdie sodat dit moet opgestig word.
Ja, kyk, hulle was besig om 'n groot store op te sit.
Yes, indeed so. We were busy, or I was busy building up a big store, or I beg your pardon, Chairperson. I just want the correct name for a shed. I thank you.
A shed.
A shed.
A shed.
A shed.
A
Oh,
shed,
okay.
a big
Yeah.
shed. I thank
Okay.
you, Chairperson.
Just to assist you in recollecting the events in a chronological order, when I look at your paragraph 7, you talk about enlarging the dam on the farm.
Je praat nou van die dam op die plaas.
Would you have done that before you built the shed?
Hierdie dam wat u nou genoem het, meneer Basson, het hierdie dam gebou voor u nou hierdie skuur gaan oprig.
Nee,
Nou,
So you put the shed up before you built
wilde dit.
the dam.
u het die skuur opgerig voor u die dam gaan bou. Indeed so, Chairperson.
You also speak about leveling the place out and compacting the farm surface. Would
Yes.
that have been one of the first tasks you undertook?
U het genoem dat die voor hierdie aanreg van alles, u het die grondwerk gedoen, was dit voor dit, voor u nou die dam gaan oprig,
Ja.
of was,
Ja.
yes.
When you were working on the farm, were there any cattle at all on the farm?
Ja.
Terwyl u nou diens gelewer het op die plaas, meneer, was daar enige beeste op die plaas gewees?
Baie.
Many of them.
Now let's take this slowly, please, Mr. Basson. So you start off by arriving and compacting the ground and leveling it. Were there cattle on the farm when you were doing that?
Kom ons begin hier. Op die tyd toe u nou die grondwerk doen, die grondwerk doen op die plaas, op die spesifiek tyd, meneer Basson, was die beeste al reeds op die plaas gewees?
Ja, hulle was op die plaas en kyk, hulle word in 'n ring gemerk. Dit was klaar reg.
Chairperson, the cattle were already on the farm because they are being mailed. At the time when they are mailed, Chairperson, they formed a circle.
When you observed that, am I correct to say that the milking shed had not been set up yet, the milk processing plant, there was nothing there, which is why you were compacting the ground?
Toe u dit waarneem, meneer, die melkerybedryf was nog nie opgerig gewees nie, en die skuur was ook nie opgerig gewees nie, toe u dit opmerk, toe u nou
Ja, kyk.
die grondwerk doen.
Daar was 'n klein skuurtjie in konkreetplekke wat hulle voer in.
There was a small shed with a little concrete.
Had you been to this farm before you were invited to go there by Mr. Prasad?
Ja,
Was u op die plaas gewees voor u nog genooi was deur meneer Bassonia?
ja, nee, ek was daar.
Chairperson, indeed so. I was there.
So were the buildings you describe when you came to compact the place there already?
Nou, nee, sorry.
No.
That's fine.
How long prior to this visit to the farm had you been, how long before had you been to the farm, before this particular visit?
Toe u nou gaan kuier op die plaas, wanneer voor die betrokke kuier, wanneer was u op die plaas gewees?
Want ek was seker 3-4 jaar voor daai tyd op die plaas, want my besigheid maak van die munisipaliteit se goed ook reg.
I was about 3 to 4 years before that particular time, Chairperson, because my duties or my contract is linked to repair the municipality things as well.
Okay, thank you.
But the farm was owned by private individuals before it was bought by Estina. Am I correct?
Met ander woorde, meneer, hierdie betrokke plaas was toe gekoop, of die eienaar van hierdie betrokke plaas was 'n privaat persoon voor hy dit aan Estina verkoop.
Nee,
Who owned the farm before it was sold? The
Wie-
farm, and I'm talking about the farm with the buildings that were there,
Wie
before
was
it was
die-
sold to Estina?
Wie was die eienaar van hierdie plaas gewees, meneer, voor hierdie betrokke plaas aan Estina verkoop?
die munisipaliteit en die boerdery se naam van die munisipaliteit was Krynhuis Rust boerdery.
Chairperson, it was the municipality, and the person who was in the forefront of that was, wie is die naam?
Krynhuis Rust.
Krynhuis Relust family.
Can I just spell that, Chairman? It's KRYNAUWSLUST farm.
Is dit reg?
Yes, it is correct, so.
Had the municipality been leasing that farm out to private individuals
Met ander
prior to Estina arriving?
Met ander woorde, die municipaliteit het hierdie grond nou uitgehuur na 'n privaat persoon voor Estina nou ingesleep word.
Kyk, dit was nie eintlik 'n privaat persoon nie, dit was raadslede van die munisipaliteit.
And initially, Chairperson, it wasn't a private person who was occupying or working on the farm. It was what was it?
Raadslede.
It was a council.
Municipality farm.
Yes, it is so, Chairperson.
No, a raadslede is what he said, who occupied it.
He said it was a raadslede.
Lede, ja.
Ja.
Is that council leaders?
Ja.
Ja.
En hulle het 'n boer gehad wat vir hulle geboer het.
They had a farmer who was farming for them.
So was it, before Estina, was it leased to members of the council who had a farmer who was helping, who was running it?
Voor dit meneer was daar 'n lid van die munisipaliteit betrokke gewees en voor dit die betrokke persoon het die plaas uitgehuur vir die munisipaliteit.
Ja, wel is dit die munisipaliteit se plaas.
It was
Nou, die Krynhuis Rust het dit seker gehuur van die munisipaliteit af. En hulle het met beeste en met mielies geboer.
Krynhuis was the one who was occupying the land and doing the farming, but he was doing that for the municipality.
Okay, thank you.
Then you say at paragraph 8 that in or about March of 2013,
En u sê op paragraaf 8, u sê
you were
in
asked
Maart 2013,
you were asked to attend to drainage and construction
u sê
relating to the cattle sheds
die was toe genader en hulle het die gevra om die werke te kom doen as ook die skure vir die beeste.
Dis reg, want daai sloot het aan 'n baie groot gat. Dis die drainage van die urine van die koeie.
It is indeed so, Chairperson, because that trench is a very big trench. That particular trench is being used to suck the urine of the kettles.
Before we proceed, Mr. Bashe, we normally go break for lunch at 1, but we propose to continue until 1:30 and take the lunch break from 1:30 to 2:30. Would that be fine with you, Mr. Basson and Mr. Interpreter?
Ja.
That will be fine for me, Chairperson.
Yes, and for Mr. Basson, is that
En
fine?
die meneer, sal dit reg wees as ons nou voortgaan, want normaalweg etenstyd is 1 uur. So die commissaris vra dat laat ons voortgaan tot om 1:30 en dan is ons met etens tot 2:30. Sal dit
Doodreg.
It is right, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you.
So, just in relation to the cattle sheds that you were asked to assist with, you have annexed as WB1 the invoice you sent to Estina Pty Limited.
Net u was toe gevra om hierdie skure te op te rig en daar is nou 'n vakaatuur in hierdie bundel. Daar is
At page 7, you'll find the invoice.
die vakaatuur is in bladsy 7.
7 will be written 07, WB
That is
07, that
seven.
will be 7
Sien jy?
at the top.
Under the first tab, tab number 1,
Can you see
You'll
the
find the
yellow,
invoice.
yellow tab? The yellow tab.
Die gele ene.
no, these are different, Chairman.
Oh, they are different
Yes.
colors.
So, just where number 1 is written, there's an invoice there dated the
One.
27th of November,
Die-
2013.
Dit is gedateer 27 November 2013. Dit is die vakaatuur.
Please ask the people who prepare these things to make sure that we all have exactly the same thing, including the colors of the dividers.
We will do that, Chairman.
I think go and assist them. You see, if the divider was yellow with them, it would be easy.
Nou sien ek, dankie.
Thank you.
And the amount of the invoice is 6,384 rand.
Die bedrag op hierdie vakaatuur, meneer, is 6,384.
Ja.
Yes, I can see that.
The important fact here is that the invoice went to Estina Pty Limited.
Met ander woorde, hierdie vakaatuur is na Estina gestuur.
is
Ja,
reg.
it is correct so, Chairperson.
I pointed out, Mr. Basson, because you say in your statement that there were other subcontractors.
Ek verwys u op hierdie, meneer Basson, want u het aangedui dat daar was ander subcontracteurs gewees.
Right, kyk, hulle het van die subcontracteurs laat loop, want hulle het gesê hulle is te duur, hulle overcharge hulle.
Chair, the subcontractors that they've just left and they said it is very expensive and they are overcharged.
Daar's nog iets.
There is something which I want to mention.
En die ander privaat kontrakteur is daai Koos.
And the other private contractor is Koos.
Ek weet nou nie waar sy goed nie.
I do not know where is his,
You have mentioned him in your paragraph 6, Mr. Koos Ekstien,
Ja,
yes.
and you've also mentioned a Floris, Floris.
En die het ook Floris daar aangemeld, is het so?
dis reg.
Ja, it is so.
Nou,
En
hulle
we-
het by Estina weer 'n ander kontrak gehad.
And they had another contract at Estina.
maar hulle het geen masjiene nie. Toe het hulle my ingehuur om die werk te doen.
And they did not have any machinery, and they hired me to come and do the job.
So the contractor who had been employed by Estina, and you've here mentioned EG Construction,
Die contracteur wat nou deur Estina by Estina gewerk het, in noem die contracteur EG.
Dis reg, dis Koos Ekstein.
Yeah, it is correct so. It is correct so, Chairperson. It's Koos Ekstein.
they had no machinery, so you brought yours in from your company and worked with them on the property.
Met ander woorde, hulle het nie gereedskappe of masjiene gehad nie. U het saam met hulle gewerk om die werk voor te set by Estina.
Dis reg.
It is correct so.
Want die Koos is eintlik 'n ingenieur, jy weet, wat die werk gekry het, maar hy het die masjiene nie. Hulle my gebruik.
This Koos Chairperson, he was an engineering, but he did not have a machinery, so he hired me to come and help out.
Your invoices, however, were not to EG Construction. All your invoices went to Estina Pty Limited.
Jou vacature, meneer, het die nie die vacature na EG Constructie gestuur nie, maar na Estina.
Nee, daar is fakture wat na Koos Ekstein toe is daai ENG.
No, there are invoices which I sent to Koos Ekstein, not EG.
We'll come back to that because most of the invoices that you have given us here, just the ones here, are directed either at Estina Pty Limited or at Vrede Dairy Projects. Now, can you explain to the chairman who Vrede Dairy Projects are?
Ons sal terugkom na dit, meneer, want meeste van die vacature wat die uitgestuur het, is na Vrede Dairy Project
Ek
of
het jou sommer
Estina.
nou daarop antwoord.
I can just answer you there.
Ek het vir my kantoordame gesê, kry al Estina se fakture uit.
I had my office
Nie
there,
ENG nie.
and I had an office there, and all my invoices I used to send them out to Estina, not EG.
No, that's not what he said. Please, can you please repeat your answer?
Sal jy asseblief u antwoord herhaal?
Ja, kyk, ek het vir my kantoordame gesê, al Estina, Vrede Dairy.
I had my office there, die vacature het hier na Estina gestuur. And all my invoices, I used to send them to Estina.
I'm sorry to repeat this. I am understanding you to say, Mr. Basson, that when you were preparing this affidavit, you asked your office PA to simply pull out the Estina invoices and the Vrede Dairy Farm invoices. And that's the reason you do not have the invoices from the other subcontractors. Please correct me if my Afrikaans is so poor that I've misunderstood you.
Asseblief, meneer, stel dit liewester so. Op die tyd toe u nou hierdie vacature nou uitreik, het u dit na Estina gestuur of na EG gestuur? Want miskien, ek verstaan nie presies nie. Kan jy asseblief dit vir ons verduidelik?
Kyk, ek het vir die PA sê, my sekretaresse, nee. Ek soek Estina se goed en Vrede Dairy. Ek het niks van ENG van Kooslig praat nie. Dis hoekom dit nie hier is nie.
Hold it down up. Chairperson, at the time when I requested my secretary, I told her or him that I want Estina or Vrede Dairy. I do not want EG's invoices.
Yes, that's what I understood you to say. But that doesn't explain to the chairman who Vrede Dairy Projects is. Are you then saying Vrede Dairy Projects was really Estina Pty Limited?
Dit verklaar nie vir die commissaris wie's Vrede Dairy nie. Bedoel u hierdie Vrede Derry, bedoel u, is het Estina Derry?
Kyk, Estina Derry was die Goetasinne, ne?
Listen, Estina Derry has its own invoice.
No,
Vrede Melkery is oorgevat deur die provinsie.
And
heeltemal ander
Vrede
maatskappy.
Melkery was taken by the province.
I'm sorry, Chairman. I actually spent time at the University of Natal. We had to do Afrikaans. It was compulsory. So
Well,
I do understand. I'm
yes.
very poor at speaking it, but I understand it.
Yes, yes.
And what I understood Mr. Basson to say is Estina was the Gupta's, whatever, it belonged to the Guptas.
Yes.
And that has not come through in the translation.
Okay, no, I must confess, I'm no longer as good in Afrikaans as I once was when I was at high school. So, and I think my Afrikaans is, yours is definitely better than mine. But the longer I hear it, the better I become. I improve all the time. So, okay, now, Mr. Interpreter, just listen carefully to the questions as well as to the answers. As you heard, counsel is saying she heard Mr. Basson saying certain things which were not translated accurately. So just try your best, and I think she will go back to that question. Try your best to interpret accurately on both sides.
Pardon me.
Yes,
Chairperson.
okay, thank you. So you may go back to that aspect and get clarification.
I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you.
I will also try and keep my questions shorter. It will assist.
Yes, no, that's fine, yeah.
Can I then ask you, Mr. Basson, to confirm what you said?
Sal u asseblief vir my sê en presies sal u nou
No, that's not what I said.
sê presies
No, I'm
wat u
sorry,
nou-
Chairman, that's not the question I asked.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, Mr. Interpreter, just listen carefully, just interpret just what counsel is saying and no more. And then when Mr. Basson answers, just interpret what Mr. Basson says and no more. Okay, all
Chairperson,
right.
let me confess.
Yes.
I forgot the name confess in Afrikaans. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Chairperson, I
okay,
forgot it.
okay.
It doesn't come in my mind. I beg your pardon, Chairperson.
Okay.
I beg your pardon.
All right, okay, all right.
Pardon me, Chairperson.
Okay, all right, thank you, thank you.
Chairman, I would
Yes.
like to just get clarity on this.
Yes,
You said, Mr. Basson, Estina belonged to the Guptas. Is that right?
Estina behoort aan die Guptas. Is that correct, sir?
Dis doodreg.
Yes, it is correct, sir.
Then you were going to explain what Vrede Dairy Project was.
En u sal nou vir die commissaris verduidelik wie is nou Vrede Dairies.
Kyk, is eintlik nou Vrede Melkery.
Vrede
En dit behoort
Melkery.
aan die provinsie.
It
Hulle
is
het oorgeneem.
hou net daar.
Goedas.
Hou dit. Die Vrede Melkery, Vrede Dairies, that belongs to the province.
The province owned Vrede Melkery.
Die provinsie van Vrede Melkery.
Nee, die provinsie in die Vrystaat en Bloemfontein.
The province in the Free State from Bloemfontein.
What about that?
Wat van
Continue.
dit?
Dis hulle wat nou die melkplaas bestuur en is hulle.
They are the ones who are operating the farm.
So there were officers from the Department of Agriculture in Bloemfontein.
Die kantore van die come again?
Department of Agriculture.
Departement van
Dis
agriculture.
dis 100% reg.
Yes,
Maar
it is.
Ek dink amper hulle het 'n ander naam ook.
Yes, it is correct, so, but I think they do have another name. I am not sure about that.
The other name we know is the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, shortened to DARD, D-A-R-D.
Sure to?
D-A-R-D. Dad.
Die ander naam wat ons wat ons ken is Dad. Dit is
ARD.
D-A-R-G.
Ja, daai naam ken ek. Kyk, hulle gee my bestellings. Daar staan op die oomblik 'n klomp trekkers in my werkswinkel wat ek vir hulle reg maak.
Chairperson, the particular name which was mentioned now, I do not know that name. There are so many tractors which are standing in my property, and I am the one who is repairing those tractors for them.
Mr. Bassonia, I'll just ask, it could be the Free State Development Corporation also
Ja.
who hired your
services.
services.
Operatie wees. Wat sê u? Wat
Dit
is
kan
u?
wees, ja.
Yes, it might be so.
Okay. Most importantly, from the invoices you have annexed,
Die meeste van die quotaties wat u het is die volgende.
not meeste, all of them.
Al die vacatures
16.
is
Use the same PO box number.
hulle gebruik of dit is geskryf posbus PO Box 3
It's PO Box, Postbus 349,
3
Vrede.
9 Vrede.
Dis 100% reg. Hulle het kantore op die melkplaas.
Yeah, it is correct so, because their offices, it's situated on the dairy farm, on the milk farm.
Other than Mr. Prasad, who are the other people you met when you rendered services at the farm?
Bo en behalwe Prasad, wie nog wat u ontmoet het en die dienste gelewer het op die plaas?
Kyk, daar was 3 Guptas. Dis nou familie van die grootkoppe.
There were 3 Guptas, that's now the heads of the family of the Guptas.
Please repeat your answer.
Heraldi?
Kyk, ek het 3 persone daar gehad op die boilers.
I had 3 people at the boilers.
Ja, en hulle is van Indië af
Those people are from India,
en hulle is aan my voorgestel as Guptas.
and I was introduced to them as the Guptas.
Nog iets.
Is there anything?
No?
You said something about the head of the family. What was that?
U het iets genoem van die hoof van die familie.
Dis nou hierdie 3 Guptas wat so in die koerante is wat nou. Julle weet wie is dit. Dis van hulle familie.
Chair, it is these
India.
3 Guptas which were mentioned in the media. Surely you know about them.
Did you
No,
meet all?
sorry, Chairman, he hasn't
Yeah.
completed the translation.
Okay, yes.
He
okay.
continued to say they are from that family. That's the full sentence.
Thank you.
Just repeat the answer, the
Kan jy
full
asseblief
answer.
die antwoord herhaal?
Ja, kyk waar die boiler opgesit is.
Where the boiler was situated,
Hy's met containers ingeship, né?
the containers were shipped in.
The boiler was shipped into the country in containers.
Hulle is ingevoer in die land met in die houers.
Ja.
Ja,
Continue.
Right. Toe kom na 3 Indians aan na my toe.
3 Indians came to me.
Want ek al die goed uit die containers uit, hulle het dit aan mekaar sit, toe hulle my voorgestel.
And at that stage, I took everything out of the container. It is at the time when they came and they introduced themselves to me.
Ja. Toe sê hulle die man vir my, want hulle kan nie Engels of niks praat nie, jy weet.
And these people were introduced to me because those people cannot speak English or anything.
Yes.
Right.
So you have met Mr. Prasad, you have met these 3 people who were introduced to you as Guptas.
Jy het Prasad ontmoet En die 3 persone wat tevore gekom het, was aan u voorgestel as die Guptas.
Ja.
Ja,
You have associated your meeting with the Guptas with the installation of the milk processing plant. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
en u het toe onderhandel gedoen met hierdie Guptas om die melkery op te stig.
Ja, kyk, hulle het gekom om die ding op te rig.
Ja, they came the chairperson to come and build that thing.
Maar
To come and build the milk processing plant.
ja,
Hulle het daar gekom om hierdie melk tank of
ja,
om die melk te prosesseer.
ja, dis-
Sorry, as I said, my Afrikaans is not good, but the more Afrikaans I hear and the more Afrikaans I try to speak, the better I become. So, Mr. Bashe, you have been very good in picking up. I think you continue to be concerned.
I am very concerned,
You are very
Chairman.
concerned.
Yes.
It may well be, therefore, that maybe we should try and get another interpreter.
With all due respect to Mr.
Yes.
Sikiti, I think
Yes.
it would serve the
Yeah.
objectives of the commission better if we did
Yes.
do that, just for this particular language.
Yes.
Chairman, I believe we could create space if we have to, first thing tomorrow morning.
Yes.
We just need to talk to Mr. Bassonia and see if it's amenable to his arrangements.
Yes. Mr. Interpreter, council who, as I've said, understands Afrikaans better than me, continues to be concerned about whether you are able to interpret accurately what the witness is saying and what sometimes she is putting to the witness. And her concerns are strong enough that we should try and get another interpreter. You understand that?
I do, Chairperson.
Yes, okay, thank you. Let me find out from, you can translate this, let me find out from Mr. Basson whether he would be available tomorrow morning if we were to adjourn until tomorrow morning in order to try and get another interpreter.
ja, I can sleep over.
Okay, Mr. Interpreter, you did not interpret
Sorry,
this.
dan is dit terug.
Luister.
Mr. Interpreter, interpret what I said, would you be available to come back tomorrow morning, Mr. Basson, if we adjourn so that we can get another interpreter?
Sal u beskikbaar wees vir môre indien hulle nou die saak uitstel tot môre sodat hulle die ander tolk kan kry wat Afrikaans sprekend is?
Ja, meneer.
Yes,
Sou
yes.
weer, slap ek met
Yes,
dit oor.
I will sleep over.
Oh, okay, no, thank you. I think we will do that. In terms of the starting time, the witness that you otherwise have for tomorrow is supposed to take how long?
He'll probably take about 3 to 4 hours, Chairman. We actually
Yes.
had 2 set down for tomorrow, but we could...
Just repeat that, please.
The first witness
Yeah,
is likely to take 3 hours, possibly 4. The report he goes through is quite an important one, and the questions are detailed. The
Yes.
second witness, however, Chairman, we might be able to speak to. He does not implicate anybody, so we
Yes.
had squeezed him in.
yeah,
And because he's Johannesburg-based, we will ask him very politely if he either could come in the afternoon or just come when we come back,
yeah,
and we then deal with his evidence then.
yes,
Because he is local, I believe he may even be able just to be on standby and
Yes.
come in within an hour.
Yes.
If all indications are that we're going to finish by lunchtime and we can take his evidence after lunch.
yes, no, that's fine. So what time do you suggest we start tomorrow? 10 o'clock or 9:30?
Could we start at 9:30, Chairman?
9:30?
Yes.
Yeah.
The interpretation takes a little longer, I'm
Yes,
finding, so
Yeah.
we need a buffer.
Okay, all right. We are going to adjourn, and tomorrow we will start at 9:30. So if you could be back here tomorrow at 9:30, Mr. Bassonia.
Hulle verdaag nou tot môre toe. Hulle vra dat u môre 9:30 moet hier wees.
Dis reg.
It's right.
Okay.
Mr.
Now,
Chair.
thank you very much. We then adjourn for now.
Ek weet nie wat. Wat het jy dan nou?